First off, we have Roll Bikes here. We have Brody here, and we have Tony. They are, I would say, the owners, but they're the backbone of the company that they have. We're going to go through a few things with them in terms of what they have to offer in their company, and we'll ask a few questions on new bikes and our participation out here with our group out here. So, first off, I'll hand it off to Brody, and then I'll kind of jump in for you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Keith. So we're Roll Bicycles. We are a company. We've been around we're a locally owned company in Columbus, Ohio. We have 4 retail locations. We started it's been about 16 years now. And we started up in the Westerville location. We now have one in Bexley. We have one in Upper Arlington and one in Dublin, which is our newest store as well. We've been selling bikes from other brands during that retail period, and then over the last 5 or 6 years we started to produce our own bikes that are designed and assembled in Columbus, Ohio too. So just kind of a great local story, and one that we're really proud of, and just really proud to be able to support the local community, and especially groups like Pelotonia and Big Lots, which is just fantastic. We have been doing and supporting Pelotonia since day one. And we're here to talk a little bit about how we kind of get rolling and how we get folks that are new to either cycling or just new to Pelotonia up and riding and prepared for a successful ride, which is kind of the most important. So, Tony, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. One of the big questions that we always have with new folks or folks that are maybe riding in Pelotonia is what kind of gear they need, what kind of bicycle they need, kind of clothing options, how, maybe if you've ridden in the past, if you're a seasoned rider, there's a lot of different questions that we get, I think, as folks come to the store. The big thing is to be able to have fun when you're out there riding, and to really get yourself a bicycle, whether it's something you already have, whether it's a new bike that we have with our Roll brand of bicycles or some of the other brands, as Brody mentioned. It's always to start with a bike, kind of outfit that bike for how you're going to ride, whether it's, the 25 miles or 57 or the 2-day ride of how you'll be doing it out there. And that's what we kind of focus on at all of our shops is to get everyone kind of ready to kind of find your ride and get out there and have a good time, and support your local Big Lots Peloton.
Yeah, so we brought a few bikes out today that we can kind of show off a little bit, and let me just stand up here. We have a lot of folks that get kind of concerned about what bike they should be riding in Pelotonia, and we have hundreds of examples inside of our shop, but what we like to focus on is it doesn't really matter what kind of bike that you have, as long as that bike fits you well. That's kind of the most important part. Right here we have one of our kind of city bikes, and if you're riding some of the shorter distances, maybe a 25 or even a 50-mile ride, this bike is gonna be great for you. It sits a little bit more upright. It's got a nice comfortable seat here. It's got plenty of range for gearing in case you run into a hill that you need a little extra gearing to get up. Those are going to be great for you. And there's a few things that we always talk about when we're getting people set up for success, and those are inflation, hydration, and safety. So in regards to this bike, what we're looking at here is inflation. We want to make sure that the tires are fully inflated to whatever pressure that they need. So we inflate these to about 60 psi. That's going to play a big role in the comfort and the efficiency of that ride. We talk about hydration a little bit. If you're going to be riding out there for multiple hours, you're going to want to have some water and potentially some kind of hydration mix. Some people, the first thing most people think about is like a Gatorade, which offers some electrolytes and offers a little bit of sugar to keep you going. We carry a brand called Scratch, which we love, and it doesn't have quite as much sugar as some of those really kind of Powerade and Gatorade type of drinks, but it offers the kind of electrolytes that you need to be able to get out there and ride 2 or 3 hours without bonking, as we call it. So that's really important. Making sure that you're eating some calories, a couple hundred calories every hour. There you go. You're looking good, buddy. And then having some comfortable clothing on is really important as well. So we have some cycling jerseys here. Now you don't need to have a cycling specific jersey, but something that is kind of lightweight, isn't going to offer some bunching around. So, typically it's a little more, and usually we'll have some pockets in the back so you can throw some of those snacks back there, perhaps a multi-tool kit. So if you do end up getting a flat tire or something like that, then you'll have the tools to replace that. And then our favorite thing to talk about always is shorts. They have a pad in the bottom there that is going to keep you feeling, if you have a little bit narrower seat, it's going to offer some additional comfort there. And then our personal favorite is these Expedition shorts, which have a little pocket in here too, which you don't typically get on a traditional spandex short. So offers you an opportunity to throw a phone in there, or maybe an extra snack or a hydration package. So those are great tools to kind of keep you successful. We talk a little bit about some gloves that have a little padding on the back. Fantastic if you're not riding on a regular basis and you need a little extra padding. That's going to add some comfort and keep you from having numb or tingly fingers. And of course, from a safety perspective, the most important is going to be that helmet. That's going to, keep your head safe. These are a polystyrene material, nice, lightweight. They have very nice kind of venting throughout the helmet, so it's going to drag air through the front, drag it out the back, keep your head cool. And new helmets offer what's called MIPS, which is a multi-impact protection system. So if you're unfortunate enough to take a little fall, it has a little casing on the inside that rotates and keeps you from having concussions, which is a newer system, and they're fantastic. And almost every helmet we carry at Roll has that MIPS system in it at this point. So we have some of our roll bikes up here. Our roll bikes are something that we started about 5 or 6 years ago. We designed them in Columbus, assembled them in Columbus in a warehouse just off of Morris Road. The nice thing about our roll bikes is we offer those in 6 different colorways. We offer them in a number of different configurations. So this is our A1R, which is our road bike. We have our city bike. We also have a sport bike that has a more upright seating position, but also a really kind of svelte tire that you can be quick on. And then we have our adventure bike, which is for those that seek a little more adventurous path. Maybe it's some gravel roads, or they want to get out and ride through the park and get in some grass, or just riding around with their kids. Or some people just like a wider tire, so they can add a little bit more comfort. And then the last thing we talk about a little bit is shoes. Some folks like to clip in with their pedals. Some folks just like the flat pedals like we have here on this bike. That's a personal choice. You do get a little more efficiency out of clipping into your pedal. So if you're going to be riding some of those longer routes, some of the 50s or 70s, 100 or the 2-day route, you're really going to benefit from having a clip-in pedal, which is a little scary to some people. The nice thing about all the clip-in pedals that we carry at Roll are they have a tension adjustment on them. So if you're new to riding with clip-in pedals, we dial down that tension pretty significantly, and that allows you to get in and out of the pedals really quickly in case of an emergency stop or something like that. Or yeah, I think that's what we're covering today on as far as.
Okay, cool.
that.
So one of the things, so we have a lot of the people that will be on the virtual that are Pelotonia riders. How could they come down and maybe, they're not interested in maybe purchasing bike, or maybe they are.
Sure.
How can they get maybe a loaner, or maybe a rental, or maybe a purchase?
Yeah, so Pelotonia is obviously a fantastic partner for us, and they started a program this year where they have purchased a number of bikes from us. They are Roll bicycles, and in addition to the bikes, they're outfitting those friends of Pelotonia with a helmet and a lock and bottle cages and bottles. And so you can contact Pelotonia, and they will set you up with us. You come to the store of your choice, whatever's most convenient for you, and we get you set up with a bike that you can ride during Pelotonia. You return that bike afterwards, or if you're fortunate enough to raise enough money, you get to keep that bike. So if you get out there and really raise some money and really get after it in that way, you keep the bike, no charge, and you just had a great experience.
Okay, great. So just the basics, if these guys just want to get started, what is the most recommended piece of equipment that you need besides the bike itself?
Yeah, well, I mean, so the first thing we're always talking about, like I said, hydration, inflation, safety. You're gonna need a pump. Okay. You're gonna need a pump to inflate your tires. You're gonna need a helmet, and you're gonna need some bottles.
Right.
You know, just to be able to drink. And then we always talk about, like a little kit, with a couple CO2s, some tire levers, a little bag to keep it underneath your saddle there. Even if you don't know how to use it, just bring it with you, because somebody on the path will be able to help you out eventually.
Trust me, somebody will pull
somebody's going to come through. I mean, anybody that works at the role, we are instructed. If you see somebody on the path that needs some help, we are going to jump off the bike and support you. I mean, Pelotonia is something you don't have to worry about. They have so much support around that there's no way anybody's going to roll past you on that. So, but outside of that, if you're out there doing some training, then you're going to be taken care of. And of course, we do, regardless if you want to buy a bike from us or you're bringing something up from the basement that you haven't ridden in a while, we have a full service center in all 4 of our shops, and we do quick turnaround and get you guys right back out on the road really quickly.
So real quick, so just to, before we get you off, we have a lot of new riders. We have a lot of people joining. Right? Do you guys provide any training rides or training sessions that they may?
We do some rides out of our shop. We also work with a number of Pelotons to support their rides. So and we've done some rides for, I believe, Big Lots in the past, and some of the other major Pelotons that get out there and they do training rides. We're always happy to offer support for those. So we either send out our van with some service folks to help out, or we'll send a couple riders along. And we did that for the Major Taylor team a couple weeks ago, and we're always excited to do that. Get out in the community, help, support, and just show some face and help take care of people. Yeah, we also have we've been doing a training ride out of the Columbus Brewing Company the first Thursday of every month. So that, I mean, if you like to incorporate a little fun into your rides, which we always do, we start and finish at the Columbus Brewing Company on the west side on the first Thursday of every month. We got one more of those left, and finished with a beverage of your choice and some nice food, pizza, that kind of stuff. It's a good time.
Great.
Yeah.
So that'll be another visit I'll have to make. So
yeah, no worries. We'd love to have you.
All right.
Yeah, we have an events calendar on our website, thanks to Tony here. So you just go on our webpage, which is roll.shop, and you scroll down a few clicks there, and then we have all of our events. We share the Major Taylor events as well, and some of the Columbus Outdoor Pursuits rides, and some of the local mountain bike group Combo. We share their rides as well. So yeah, if you guys are looking for a ride to get involved with, or a group to get involved with, we try to be the place to get you started.
Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you
for coming out.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
you.
worries. We appreciate it.
All right. We have our Major Taylor Bike Club here. These are the founders of the Central Ohio Club, but actually it's kind of spread across the nation. This is the first club in the United States that was named after Major Taylor. I'll let them kind of tell the stories. We have the president, we have the secretary, we have the vice president, we have some other founders that are here today to kind of share their story. I'm going to let them get started a little bit. I'm going to start with, this will be George Harper, who is our president, our senior executive president, and have him kind of tell a little bit about Major Taylor, and I'll ask a few questions and then kind of go through some introduce. Well, let's start with an introduction. So this is Doc. We call him Robert Bradley. We call him Doc. He's our secretary. This is this is John Tolbert. He's our senior treasurer. I'll keep senior. Take that out. I'll keep that. And this is our founder, our president George Harper. This is our VP, Jed Rumor. And then others that have been with these guys for so long. This will be Pastor Bradford, and this will be Dan Cunningham. So they have been with this club. I'll keep it. I'll let y'all explain it. but I'll start. Prez, why don't you start off this explanation, just how Major Taylor got started and where we're at today. So.
All right. Like Keith said, we've been together since 1979 as a group, and part of the reason that we came together was because of the common thread of cycling that we all love to do, and in cycling, promoting wellness and health and proper living, which is one of the things that Major Taylor stood for. And so, and with that in mind, we kind of brought our club together, kind of honor him. Back in '78, I happened to be over in Dayton, Ohio, visiting a bike shop, and happened to see a publication that they had, and it was about Major Taylor, his 100th year birthday anniversary. And I started reading a few things about him, and it was just remarkable, his achievements and all that. And I had never heard anything about Major Taylor at that time. I brought the article back and shared it with some of the other members of the club, and we were, pretty much blown away the fact that this man had been, world cycling champion, had set several world records in sprint competition, and we had never heard of him. So that was part of our mission, was to get him the recognition that he deserved as an American champion. So and that was pretty much the gist of what got our club going. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Other than the fact that we've never heard of Major Taylor, like George said, we thought it was important that we just name our club after Marshall Major Taylor, who actually was the first African-American world champion of anything, even before Jackie Robinson. So, yeah, so we did that. But all because of George seeing that article and bringing it back, we had no idea that today that there would be, how many, Keith?
So totally today in the regional area is 1,108. Totally across the United States, we're looking at over several thousand. So this all grew from this group here. So
our intent was just to ride bikes and drink beer.
Jed.
Thank you. My story is a little bit different. I was working in a bike shop in '79, and George asked me to go out on a ride. I think because I was working as a mechanic, and they thought they might need some help or some parts or something. And on that ride, I happened to borrow $5 from George, and to this date, I've never given it back to him. So I think that's why he's allowed me to stay in the club. But apart from all that, it's just been a real honor to watch what's going on nationwide. And I have to say that the bigger club, is the International Alliance. So these fellows are thinking not only just throughout the domestic United States, but clubs from Taiwan, I believe.
Yep,
and
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. So the movement has really taken off. We were fortunate enough to be interviewed by CBS last weekend at the International Convention in Indianapolis. And the interviewer asked me directly, she said, "Did you ever think that this movement would grow to this size?" And I looked her straight in the eye and said, "No." And I think that's the case. We had no idea. And it's just an honor. So.
Very good.
Yes, it was about 40 years ago. I met John Tolbert. I was driving down Fairwood Avenue, and he had a flat. And so I went over and asked him that about cycling. I told him I was interested in fast touring, and he was explaining to me and everything. Then come to find out he had two flats, so I had to take him home. I said, "Good, I got more time to talk to him." And so he introduced me to cycling, and I began to read up on it. And I bought me a $400. Um, remember, it's Oster Daimler. Remember the yeah, AD, yeah, yeah, at the Bexley bike shop, almost across the street from Rose. Uh-huh. And so I started commuting back and forth to work. It was a 30-mile round trip. And then I started riding with them, and you know the rest of the story.
Hi, my name is Dan Cunningham, and I happen to live across the street from George Harper. And I had all my friends would say, "Don't you know George?" I'm like, "No, I don't know George." So well, you need to go over and say hello to him. So I knocked on his door one day, and that's how I met George. I also want to say that that was the beginning. He told my dad the name of the club, Major Taylor. My dad was the only person I ever heard of that actually saw Major Taylor race. My father was old enough to be my grandfather, as a matter of fact, so he watched him race in Dayton as a kid.
I'll keep it going. So just a couple questions, George. I'll keep this moving. So one of the things, what do we do like in terms of you guys have had such an impact on the community at large and nationwide? What are the things that you feel like what Major Taylor does today? This where you found it from. What do we do from a community aspect? How do we support them, our community out there? So.
Sure. Well, there's a number of things that we try to do and have done. So I'll be very quick with this. So one of the things that Robert and George created some years ago was with high school students. We call them the Major Taylor Youth Ambassadors. Simply, we go into the high school and talk about cycling and get them interested in learning how to ride a bike, repair a bike, bicycle safety, and promote Major Taylor. Now, the mistake we made is that we selected juniors and seniors. Once a junior got their driver's license, the bicycle was no more. So that was it. The other thing we've done in the community in the past years, we sponsored the Long Street Tour, which was a tour sponsored in cooperation with Bank One, Long Street Business Association, and that was to bring cycling to the east side of Columbus, to the African American community, to introduce kids and adults to cycling. That went on for a number of years. And now we're associated, thanks to Keith, with the Linden Urban Scouts.
Yes.
Introducing them to cycling and making sure that they are aware of all the safety procedures and so forth and so on in terms of that. So the next big thing that we're doing is our affiliation with Pelotonia. And I'm sure Keith can talk to you all about that a little bit more. But we've been very successful in terms of being able to connect with groups. And I forgot one other one. A couple of years ago, George and some of the fellows did a bike giveaway with the church. Which church? Faith Ministries. And speaking of giveaways, 3-4 years ago, Jed helped us on our mountain summit that we do annually in whereabouts in West Virginia was it? Harrisville, West Virginia. We gave bikes to Appalachian kids to learn how to ride bikes and have bikes in their neighborhood so they can get to and from school in the store. So we've done a number of things in the community and looking forward to doing more because you're now the president and you're going to do it, right?
Yeah, well, I got a day job too. So yeah, that's awesome. So some of the other things that you spoke of Pelotonia. So we do have quite a bit of our folks that are participating in Pelotonia this year. Currently, we have about 35 of our members that are riding probably the 2-day route. So we'll probably ride the 100 there to Gambier, and we'll probably come right back. So so we'll hit the 100. I think it's 106, and then I think it's 88 back to New Albany. So so we got plenty of our riders out there today that are going to be participating. Plus, we also do a lot with a lot of the other community areas where people are just now getting into Pelotonia riding. They'll come out on our group rides. We'll have these esteemed gentlemen out there to kind of boost them along. So they like to see the history of the club, which has been most inspiring for most of our folks out there. With other things that you have going on, what do you see in terms of Pelotonia relationship with the major tailors going forward in the future for you in your minds? So we can continue to. I want to take that one.
One of the things that we didn't mention is last year we started a silent ride, and this was about stop the violence in the community. So we all assembled at the church parking lot, and we rode throughout Champion, the east side. We ended up on the north end, and then we went downtown through the short north, and we came back to the church. And we're going to try to do that again
Yes.
this year to an awareness of, you know, put the guns down, stop the violence. I think one of the things, I had the privilege of riding the first Pelotonia, and we escorted the mayor. We took him, it was Amanda Clear Creek, 50 miles. We took him 50 miles, and that was his stopping point, and it was a privilege. I think one of the things is to get more African Americans aware of the Pelotonian, to get them to get interested in riding. There's a lot of riders out there, but they need encouragement. You know, they need somebody to help them out.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing that I'd like to mention is that our club is real active in terms of weekly rides. We have a Wednesday night ride that we do, and then I think they're riding Tuesday and Thursday morning,
We're
right?
hitting every week now.
Yeah.
Every week now.
So if we can be a little bit self-serving, we're always looking for members, and anyone who's looking for a group ride, wants to get experience in hanging out with some experienced riders. The only way to get better at riding, two ways. One is get on the bike, and two, ride with somebody that's better than you. And I've had that experience a lot. So and our club offers, like I said, regularly scheduled rides, and we'd love to have new members and people joining us as practice for Pelotonia.
And as you mentioned, you can get on our website, Major Taylor 1979. And if you're interested in joining, you can click there and we'll get you in. And our group rides are listed on there as well. Good.
Yeah, I just want to mention one of the things that we forgot to mention was, how did we get to the point of being recognized as Major Taylor? Well, as a matter of fact, I bought our scrapbook over there that has our minutes from our first meeting and some pictures. And don't laugh at our first jerseys because they were pressed on leathers and stuff. So, but I think the benefit of our name being out there was because we would visit different states to ride. I'll give you an example. There's a ride in Maryland called the Seagull Century. Thousands of people go there. It's Ocean City, Maryland. The first year we went, we had our jerseys, our kits on, and people would say, like, who's Major Taylor? Who's Major Taylor? And we tell them while we're riding. We go back to next year, we see a new Major Taylor group. We go back the following year, we see two more Major Taylor groups, and we go to other places. They did the ride across Iowa, and people would always just ask who's Major Taylor, and next thing we know, they have a group called Major Taylor. The LA Cycling Club came to the Ocean City, Maryland ride as Major Motion. They saw all the Major Taylor clubs, went back to LA and changed their name to Major Taylor. So that's how this all evolved, because we just didn't stay in Ohio or Columbus to ride. We went to many places, and people saw our name and how we rode and wanted to name a club after us. And that's how we got our name out there.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll get off a lot of experience up here. For a new rider, especially we got a lot of new riders out here. What are some of the tips? You've already hit one, Jed. What is the main thing starting out that they should look for? Because we got a lot of new riders that we have in Pelotonia this year. So what are some of the things they should look for?
The first thing I tell you is like, when you go down to the basement and get your bike, make sure you got air in your tires and your chain's not rusty. Well, a lot of it, Roll Covered did a great job on it. You know, we would just say that, like, you know, you got to ride. You got to get on the bike and ride. I don't care if it's a bike path or what have you. And the other thing is, I think the most important thing, even though Roll covered everything about equipment, here's the most important thing. When you're riding in large groups, you must learn how to not what we call half wheel. In other words, a person's rear wheel is in front of you and you come up with your front wheel, and that's called half wheeling. If that person in front of you goes to the left or to the right and hits your wheel, everybody in that group goes down. So the first thing you have to learn is how to ride in a group. Second thing, of course, is being safe on the bike with your signals, calling out potholes, I'm on your left, those kind of things. And then just also looking out for one another when you're riding. Other than that, you know, we've seen on many of the rides with Pelotonia, people just reached up in the garage, got their old bike and came out, and 2 miles into the ride, they got a flat tire, chains come off. So the other piece is maintenance. You know, Lowell has said you can bring your bike in to have it looked at and checked over. I would suggest that you do that. Because if you were riding with us back in the day and you broke down, we leave you. But we come back for you eventually. But we
tell you next to Ken when we last.
That's true. That's true. But it's all in learning. And then the other thing would be what happened to me was I think it was my second ride. They left me, and one guy came back and said, "Here's a map on how to get back to Columbus." So we don't do that anymore. So, but that's
we try not to. Jet.
I can just chime in a little bit on what John was saying. There is safety in numbers. You know, being with the group and you know, you feel somewhat protected as far as being out in traffic and all that, and having the experience of riding in a group. That's the other thing that would be important, especially on something like the Pelotonia, where there is large groups that do get together, and you may not even know may not know any of the people in the group, but you find yourself in a group of maybe 25, 30 riders, but you got to have some knowledge of, you know, like you said, the wheel contact and all that kind of stuff that would keep you from meeting the pavement.
The other thing I'd add is really right at the top, learn the roads. Find out, you know, what your route is going to be. Know how to get back as if you don't have a GPS system, because they'll fail or you'll get dropped. I mean, who here has never been dropped? Yeah. See, it happens to everybody, and you look up and you find yourself out there on your own, and you don't know what to do. So you got to be able to find your way back. The other thing that I like to think about is like, you know, they say that when you're learning how to write, you need to find your voice, and I think the same parallel can be made for cycling. You have to develop your own attitude towards riding the bike and riding a certain distance and riding in a group and all of that. You know, don't be afraid to do what you think is right. Pay attention to what others are doing, yes, but at the same time, you know, ride it like you want to ride it. That's all I can say.
For beginners, you must own a floor pump because you always have to pump your tires up daily. The problem with a lot of beginners, they get a flat, and it's called a vampire bite. And that means the tires are underinflated, and when they hit a bump, it pinches the tube. So you must own a floor pump, and pump your tires, check them daily. And then after every ride, you ought to inspect your tires. Sometimes you may have glass in it, but if you can deflate it, you can pull the glass out, because if you leave it in, it's going to work its way in, going to keep working, and then it's going to reach the tube. So get a floor pump. The next thing is in training. I learned that when I first started riding with them, I would wait and see where they're riding and meet them. And my problem was I would get dropped, and I kept wondering why I kept getting dropped. And Robert Bradley said, you got to get out on your own throughout the week and do your homework. And so you find a bike trail and just get out and do your own riding on your own, and you get stronger. And then when you get with the club, you'll see a difference. But you don't wait when they ride. You got to get out and ride on your own. So there's a lot of great trails out there. If you want to find me, I'm on 3 Creeks. My route is Allen Creek to Picketing Ponds. I do a 40-mile round trip about 3 times a week. And so by the time I hook up with the club, I'm ready for them.
I want to speak on training as well. Some of these guys here I've known for years before I even started riding. I heard about some of these gentlemen. They were athletes. Trust me, they were athletes. And part of my motivation was trying to keep up with them. And what I know that now is you just have to put the miles in. Some days you'll feel great and want to put in a lot of miles. Some days you may just want to get a little casual ride in, but all of those miles count. And the one thing I always say is that a bicycle will make an athlete out of anybody.
One thing, the club did say that if you're going to do a century ride, we do recommend you have at least 300 miles under your belt. Is that correct? Yes, at least 300 miles under your belt before you do a centuries.
All right, guys. This has been very enlightening, and I think the information that you guys are passing off to the audience is going to be just hugely taken into play, and then they're going to use it definitely with our new riders that we have out here and upcoming riders, so we can have more people join Major Taylors and actually come out to ride with these gentlemen. Please, the offer is open. Like Jed said, we're out here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're going to do a 100-mile one on Saturday coming up. I think we're going to, yeah. So come on out and join us, and then have a good time. It's a nice time with everybody, and you get to see some legends. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I just want to thank Big Lots for inviting us to do this. It's enjoyable. I know that you all have a team, and Pelotonia is involved, and we're involved with Pelotonia, but we want to thank you for the opportunity, because it's not often we get a chance to talk about something that we love and like to see other people get involved in. And I'm sure I speak for George as well, in terms of like the club has been around since 1979, and it just seems like that this past week, we've got the most recognition. Not that we were looking for it, because like I said, all we wanted to do was ride and drink beer, but it has been really a pleasure to see what George came up in terms of a vision with a club with 8 guys that now has turned into a national phenomenon, and to be recognized. And this is another way of recognizing the club. And I think we should all thank George for
absolutely
having a vision.
And thank you for coming. Thank you for coming out to spend time with us today.
All right, guys. Well, first of all, I do want to thank Roll and Major Taylor for coming out and presenting to our team. Obviously, great information and just very inspiring. They're just going to casually go ride 100 miles this weekend, which is awesome. Wish I could go do that. So we're getting very, very close. Obviously, the ride is only a couple months away, and we are so close to our rider goal. We are only 30 people short. And, you know, I hope seeing this inspires you. Obviously, you know, there's opportunities. If you don't have a bike, sounds like Roll might be able to hook you up with a bike for a day to do the ride. If riding doesn't sound like something you're interested in, then be a virtual rider. If you raise up to $100, then you get a cool free Big Lots Pelotonia t-shirt. And, you know, if you don't want to be a virtual rider and commit to raising any money, we also have probably the best cheering section out there. So, you know, it's on the portal. Sign up for that. I know at mile 15, nothing gets me more excited than seeing a sea of orange. So